The anime starts with a game called The New Gate, where players can explore a virtual world. One day, the players realize they can't log out and return to reality. Now, they must survive in the game because if they die there, they die in the real world too. To survive, they fight monsters to level up and often team up to complete tasks more easily. During one battle, some players are killed by skeleton monsters. Just as a female player is about to be defeated, Kiritani Shinya, another player, comes to her aid. He quickly takes down all the skeleton monsters with a few sword strikes. After winning the fight, Shinya decides to leave his group to finish the game on his own and prevent others from getting hurt. Shinya continues his journey until he reaches the room where the final boss is. To finish the game, he must defeat this boss. Although the monster is large and powerful, Shinya stays calm even when the boss attacks quickly. He fights back, aiming for the boss's head, but his attack only injures its wings. Unexpectedly, the wings regenerate, so Shinya launches another series of attacks. Before the boss can recover, Shinya uses his ultimate move, aiming his sword at the monster's head. This time, he defeats the boss, and it disintegrates into dust. Shinya feels relieved that the game is over. Afterward, Shinya checks the new skills and titles he earned. He notices that other players are finally able to log out, and their names disappear from the list until only his name is left. But when Shinya tries to log out, a door behind him opens, revealing a bright light. He wonders why he hasn't left the game even though he pressed the logout button. A few moments later, Shinya found himself in a grassy field, confused about whether he was still in the game or back in the real world. He was even more surprised when he saw his game notification screen, showing that his status and level had increased a lot. Shinya tried to stay positive, thinking that he had gained a big level boost for defeating the boss earlier. But he couldn't find the logout button, and he didn't need an internet connection to access the game notifications anymore. This made Shinya start to question where he really was and worry that he might be stuck in the game world. Even so, he stayed calm and decided to return to his base to figure out why he couldn't log out. To find the base, Shinya used a paper bird item that would guide him there. On his journey, Shinya followed the paper bird until he unexpectedly came across a kingdom wall that he had never seen before in the game. After some time, the paper bird stopped at a building in the middle of a forest, which Shinya thought was his base. When Shinya got closer to the base, he saw a beautiful elf woman named Tierra Lucent being captured by a group of men who were asking her about her master's location. Unable to fight back, Tierra was forced to go with the men as they left the base, passing through a protective spell. Their journey was suddenly interrupted when a fierce monster appeared and attacked. The men ran away to save themselves, leaving Tierra frozen with fear as the monster approached. Fortunately, Shinya arrived just in time to save Tierra from the monster. After defeating the monster, Tierra invited Shinya back to the base, where she introduced herself and asked if he knew her master, Schnee Razor. The name sounded familiar to Shinya because Schnee had been one of his party members in the previous game level. Shinya wanted to know more about Schnee and asked Tierra where she was, but Tierra refused to say, explaining that not just anyone could know her master's location. If Shinya wanted to contact Schnee, he could leave a message with Tierra, but he had to pay a certain amount of coins from his inventory. Without hesitation, Shinya gave a gold coin to Tierra, which surprised her because gold coins were rare. According to her, only kings and elders of certain races could use gold coins, and one gold coin was worth 10 billion regular coins. Tierra then became curious about Shinya's race, and when he told her he was a high human, she was even more shocked because high humans had been extinct for hundreds of years. When Shinya heard this, he looked confused. Tierra then explained that in their history, there were only 6 high humans in their world. Unfortunately, 500 years ago, all of them suddenly disappeared due to a strange event that made many people vanish, including the high humans. Shinya thought that this event might be connected to the players logging out after he finished the game by defeating the boss monster. He then realized that he was now in a world 500 years after the game ended. Understanding his situation, Shinya gave the gold coin to Tierra as a thank you gift, and she was happy to receive such a rare item. Tierra also shared that she was an elf with a curse that attracted monsters to her whenever she left the safety of the base's protective magic barrier. Before she got the curse, Tierra's hair was white like other elves, but now it had turned darker. Feeling sorry for her, Shinya decided to use his magic to remove the curse. The magic worked quickly, and some of Tiara's hair returned to its original color. She was overjoyed to be freed from the curse and to see some of her hair change back. Tiara thanked Shinya for breaking the curse that had affected her for 100 years. To test if the curse was truly gone, Shinya invited Tiara to leave the base and cross the protective barrier. Though hesitant at first, Tiara agreed after Shinya promised to protect her if any monsters attacked. They walked a good distance from the base, and Tiara was surprised to find that the curse had indeed disappeared. No monsters were targeting her anymore. She cried tears of joy, finally free from the curse that had troubled her for so long. When they returned to the base, Tiara told Shinya that she didn't know when Schnee would return. Shinya decided to explore because he wanted to find other party members who might be in this new world. Hearing this, Tiara gave him a letter of introduction to help him enter the kingdom area more easily without needing an inspection. After their conversation, Shinya went to the kingdom and was surprised that he could enter without waiting in line, thanks to Tiara's letter. A kingdom guard named Bade also told Shinya that the letter could be used to meet the king directly. Shinya was impressed with how helpful the letter was. After that, he went to the Adventurer Guild headquarters to register as a royal adventurer. When Shinya arrived at the Adventurer Guild headquarters, he was helped by the receptionist, Silica Lindot, to fill out the registration form to become a new adventurer. After completing all the necessary information, Shinya went to a restaurant to wait for his guild card to be processed. While there, he noticed that the adventurers seemed weaker compared to those from 500 years ago. Suddenly, Shinya was surprised when Silica's twin sister, Celica Lindot, who worked as a waitress at the restaurant, approached him. Celica mentioned that she knew Shinya had an introduction letter and asked him to meet the guild chairman, Barluxheim, right away. When Shinya met Barlux, the guild chairman asked to see the introduction letter so he could verify it. After confirming that the letter was genuine, Barlux explained that the letter was an important document that many people desired. He advised Shinya to destroy the letter if he couldn't keep it safe. Shinya assured Barlux that he could protect the letter. Afterward, Barlux discussed Shinya's registration as a member of the Adventurer Guild and invited him to take a skill test first. That night, Shinya rested at an inn to regain his strength after handling various tasks before becoming an adventurer. The next day, Shinya officially became an adventurer and returned to the guild headquarters to learn about the missions he needed to complete. Silica handed Shinya his adventurer card and explained that adventurers are ranked from G, the lowest level, to SS, the highest. Since Shinya had just joined, he started at rank G. She also informed him about the different missions and their difficulty levels, which he would need to complete to level up quickly. After learning about his first mission to find medicinal herbs, Shinya immediately headed to the nearest forest. Meanwhile, Silica had doubts about Shinya's abilities as an adventurer, noting that he didn't seem as physically strong as most adventurers. After spending 3 hours in the forest, Shinya was having a hard time completing his mission to find medicinal herbs. He felt this mission was more difficult than many of the tasks he had faced while playing The New Gate. As Shinya continued his search, he suddenly encountered a monster known for its great strength. He remembered that the adventurers in the restaurant had talked about this terrifying monster, which was rumored to have killed several people. Determined to test his new strength, Shinya bravely faced the monster, which had strong defenses and even wielded a light elemental sword, a rare weapon for monsters to have. Despite this, Shinya didn't give up and kept attacking, but his efforts seemed to have little effect on the monster. Realizing that his sword was nearly broken and could only be used for one final strike, Shinya unleashed his ultimate skill. This powerful attack allowed him to finally defeat the monster, sending the light elemental sword flying high into the air. Afterward, Shinya received a drop item, a crystal, without noticing that the monster's sword had landed in the king's room. The knights guarding the king were shocked to see the sword appear out of nowhere and wondered who had thrown it into the room. So the moral of the story is, if you ever find yourself stuck in a video game, just remember, no matter how many bosses you defeat, you might still end up leveling up in confusion and throwing legendary swords at kings by accident. Stay sharp and don't lose your logout button.